Welcome everybody to the Haunting Truth. And we all know Florida is its own unique thing, aka Florida Man, which I know we all know about. And tonight we're going to dig a little bit deeper into its history of haunted hotels. But of course, we must cover ourselves first for sakes of the US legal system. All stories are presented for educational storytelling purposes only. Nothing here is meant to encourage trespassing, thrill seeking, or putting yourself in danger. Listener discretion is advised, especially for stories involving violence, tragedy, or historical trauma that's woven into Florida's haunted past. La la la. Don't be a tool, is the end of that. So, now, with that out of the way, welcome everybody to The Haunting Truth. This is Woo, and with me as always is Jovian Jen, as she has
Okay.
a massive presence and otherworldly energy, aka a spirit that fills the whole room. Kind of what we're going to be talking about tonight. So,
Thank you. I appreciate
you
you.
are welcome. So, Jen, I know you are familiar with the uniqueness that is Florida.
Oh, Florida man. Absolutely.
We won't talk about Captain Boomerang, which we talked about before. If you want to, go back and listen to those episodes. But do you know of any haunted hotels there? And I know you've got more than one, so maybe just limit it to one because I don't want you to ruin my whole screen
I'm
story
trying to
this
think.
whole time.
So I know that, so in St. Augustine, I know that there is definitely a haunted hotel. I forget the name of it because it
Okay.
used to be an old hotel that people from old money used to go to all the time.
Okay.
I forget the name of it, but I know exactly which one, and it's near the jail. I can see it like in my head
Okay.
right now.
So I think we're talking about the same one, and we will get there. So
Okay.
pause on that and we'll get there. So, having been a recent transplant to Florida, I can tell you that this is a place where the past never really dries out. The heat holds on to things, memories, tragedies, whispers. And if you listened to our last episode on Fatty Arbuckle in room 1219, you'll already know that some hotel rooms don't forget what happened inside of them. And we've done a couple episodes where we talked about hotels historically. Jerome was one, I think Berkeley was one. We've got a couple other
Yeah.
ones. So tonight we're going to be talking about some of the most prominent and most beautiful hotels here in Florida and their associated stories. So we're going to start in St. Petersburg. St. Pete's to the locals, is what people call them. It's known as the Pink Palace, otherwise known as the Don CeSar, and that is what is behind us today. This beautiful pink
Yes.
one. When you drive into St. Petersburg, you cannot miss it. It is literally right there in front of you, and it is gorgeous. It looks like a fairy tale castle that's just been dropped out into the sand. And this is one that was designed as a playground for the wealthy during the 1920s. Kind of like what
Hmm.
you were talking about before in St. Augustine. That was the boom when everything was coming through in Florida. We had a lot of tourists, we had a lot of wealthy people coming through. They built this hotel for that. And it's in a Mediterranean and Moorish style that you'll see echoed throughout Florida. You'll see it in Miami, St. Augustine, Tampa itself, St. Pete's. That was kind of the prevailing beauty aesthetic, I think, at the time as part of the architectural. If you're up and coming, like this is what you're going to do.
Uh-huh.
And the Don Cesar has 277 rooms and 40 suites. And it is still open today if you want to go view it. In fact, the website has it listed as the crown jewel of Florida's Gulf Coast. And again, it's very truly beautiful. The suites run for just under 1,000 a night.
Oh, okay.
But
So
if you're
just.
just a tad, but if you're budget
Yeah.
conscious, they do have ones that run as low as 640. Or they have beach suites a half mile up that run around 750. So I hope you're catching my sarcasm here. This is not
Yeah.
a cheap hotel. This is a luxury hotel. But it's definitely worth the splurge. The history itself um, calls me to like stay and experience it. And I've told my husband a couple times, like when we go through like for anniversary, book me a room here. Like I just want to check it out for a night. Um, the architect itself was Henry DuPont. No relation that I could find to the Delaware
Oh, okay.
DuPonts, but I don't doubt that they're, associated at some point.
Well, he
And
moved away, and so he wouldn't be affiliated with them. They inbred too much.
all DuPonts are related to DuPonts. It's just a matter of
Yes.
going back farther enough in the family tree, but I couldn't make any direct, like within the last
Yeah.
century. correlation to the DuPonts, but I'm not putting it out of the realm of possibility. But it was commissioned by Thomas Rowe, who, according to lore, built it for the woman he loved, who was a
Oh,
Spanish opera singer named Lucinda de Guzman. So Thomas was the son of an Irishman. He was born in Massachusetts in 1872, and he wasn't wealthy or titled or part of the aristocracy, but he was intelligent and energetic, and he went to London to study architecture. And that's where he went to the opera, Maritana, and fell in love with the soprano lead, which was Lucinda. So they ended up meeting secretly by a fountain near the opera house, and they fell in love and decided to wed. But Lucinda's father was part of the Spanish nobility and did not approve of her associating with someone of a lower class. So
mm.
he physically intervened in their elopement, and heartbroken, Thomas had to return to the US by himself. He did, however, try to write her for years afterwards, consistently, but all of his letters were returned back unopened. Until one day, she was able to send him one letter, but it was from her deathbed. And it was
Oh,
in this letter that she called him Don CeSar, who was the hero of the opera that she was in when they met. And she promised to meet him in the next world by the fountain that they had both loved. And unfortunately, she died before they could reunite. And Thomas passed away in 1940 in the hotel that he had built for his love. So, guests today say that he still wanders the halls in a white suit searching for her. They see him on a rooftop terrace, and he vanishes when people approach. They hear phantom footsteps. They see lights flickering in the ballroom. The scent of roses, which was her perfume, drifts through closed rooms. But I think what's most important here is, if you remember, they were meeting by a fountain outside of the opera where they met. He
right.
recreated that fountain. It is in the lobby of the Don Cesar, and that's where they see the ghost of both of them by this
Oh,
fountain. So they see them kind of together, which I thought was kind of nice. So, I mean, love stories, they don't always end in tragedy, but when they do, they tend to linger. I, for one, would like to visit this particular hotel. It's known for its luxury, its history, but I'd like to see the inspiration of the love that, you know, created him for
huh.
her. And kind of
Yeah.
like hope that they're still together at
And
this
you have to
point,
think he
even though present.
probably got this hotel so that he could show her father he had enough money to support her. And
Yeah.
that was his goal so that he could move up in status and he could show that he was
Yeah.
deserving of her love.
Yep. And it
And
just
he did a really good job though. I mean, that's a beautiful hotel.
It is a gorgeous hotel, and I'll put all the links in there. And it is just, it's a spa, and they have I don't know if you are aware of it, but they have what's called a resort pass, which you can use for day access to the hotel, even if you don't have a room there for the night, but it entitles you to use all of the hotel's facilities for the day. So you can use the pool, you can use their spa, you can use whatever, their restaurants, you just don't have to stay there for the day. That is one that I would consider going just
I
for
was
the
gonna
day,
say, like,
just to
how
kind of
much is
check
the
it out.
resort pass? Like, I would
They can
definitely want
go
to use the
cheap.
pool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they can go for cheap. I think I looked at it for a couple hotels down around here in St. Pete's, and like just to stay the night, you're talking $100, but the resort pass would be like $40 for the day to be able to go to the
Well, that
spa
would
and the
be
restaurant and hang on the beach and
yeah. I
tour
mean,
it.
I would do it to hang on the beach, go to the pool,
Yeah.
get some good drinks because you know you're gonna. I would have to look because you know you're spending some money if
Oh
it was
yeah.
vacation, and then you could
Most
just tour
definitely.
the grounds. You know what I mean?
Yep. So look it up. Look it up. You can look up Resort Pass. It's all over the place. Like I've looked at a couple. Yeah, and it lets you get in there and get treated as a hotel guest, even though you're not spending $700 a night.
I would
Stay
do it.
there. I would do it too. Shoot, but
Then I trudge over to my Airbnb.
pack up my cooler and draw it back out to my Fiero that I got
uh,
parked in the back
I
parking lot.
know.
We don't need to know all that. We can just pretend to be luxury,
Yes.
but it's out there,
Yeah.
y'all. Check it out. Resort Pass. It can be a good time, I think. It's also on the girls' weekend list to go do that.
Oh,
Go crash a
absolutely.
go crash a long one. So, on our next stop on the hotel tour of Florida, we have the Biltmore in Coral Gables, which is outside of Miami. And this
Hmm.
place is so haunted that it once required a priest on staff. And yes, this one
Makes
is
sense.
also still open. And the presidential suites, and I will say for all of these ones, I did look today and ran if I was going to stay like my birthday weekend, what it would cost me for a night. So I had some kind of base of what it is. And down here in Florida, July, it's not a high traffic season. This is low season. So this is
Yes.
cheap prices. So it's probably a little bit higher than that. But this one, the presidential suites run for $4,200 a night. So
Sorry.
if you are balling just as much as we are and you want to check it out,
Yes.
$4,200 a
So,
night.
how much is the resort pass?
Right? We're gonna have to definitely
We're gonna
check
have
that.
to
This
definitely,
one's a
yeah.
little bit different though, and let me get there because this one makes me fun. So this one during Prohibition. So again, it's like the same kind of time frame, 1920s and so on. The Biltmore was a playground for gangsters. So one night they had mobster Thomas Fatty Walsh,
Hmm.
not to be confused with Fatty Arbuckle, which we talked about the last couple episodes because he was the silent scream actor. But this one is Fatty Walsh. He was a New York mobster, and he was a known associate of Dutch Schultz and
Hmm.
Lucky Luciano, and he was actually a bodyguard for Rothstein for a period of time. And when Rothstein died, he was like poisoned. Like this guy was being questioned for where he was and what happened and all this kind of thing. So there was all kind of like background going on with that one. But in this suite in the Biltmore, he ended up getting shot dead during a gambling dispute. They were on the 13th floor.
Oh,
So we've talked about hotels on the 13th floor.
yes.
Their 13th floor had been transformed into its own entire speakeasy and gambling den. And we had tourists and we had the mobsters and we had the showgirls. Everybody came and had a good time on the 13th floor.
Hmm.
So he ended up getting shot there up on the 13th floor. So since then, guests have reported seeing a man in a pinstripe suit down the hallway. They've had elevator doors opening on the 13th floor, even when it's not selected, cold spots in that old speakeasy, whispers in the empty pool area. And in fact, the Biltmore's hauntings are so well documented that even the Miami police have reported strange activity during their training exercise. And the hotel itself embraces the history. If you look at their website, like they actually go into it, they'll tell you all the detail behind it. And if
Huh?
interested, and this is where I'm talking about with the resort pass, on Sundays they have free walking tours at two
Huh?
o'clock. You just got to call and like set it up with
Oh, that's
them,
awesome.
and they will take you through into the Everglades Suite, which is where Fatty was shot, and it's also known as Al Capone Suite because it had its own secret staircase and a private elevator to get in there. Al Capone did stay there, so you can go and tour it, and apparently you can still see the bullet in the fireplace
Oh, that's
from
all. Well,
where
I wouldn't say
Fatty
that's
was shot.
awesome. I'm like, that's just
So I
really
thought
cool.
it was kind of cool. So I mean, and there might be an alternative to spending $4,200 to check it out.
Yeah.
President Clinton actually did stay there, and when he stayed there, he had all kinds of issues with his TV mysteriously not working while he was in that
Oh,
suite.
had nothing to do with somebody else.
Probably not. Yeah, we're
No,
not going to get
no,
into that.
not.
We're not going to get into that. But we've talked about these last two, right? So they both came up. They're both in the same time period. They both were for the up and coming, the elites and the
Yes.
gangsters and all of that kind of thing. And I didn't even mention that both of them were used as military hospitals over time, which
Oh,
adds to their hauntiness
yes.
for all of those. So yeah, and they're both still open today, and we've definitely got to go check it out. So I'm going to take a break here real quick before I go into the next stop on our tour of Florida and their haunted hotels, and then I will tell you about what you're referring to in St. Augustine,
Awesome.
which is what I think. All right, back in just a moment. So, yes. So, this is another hotel that you can still stay there today. It is a little bit more budget friendly. Rooms can go in excess of $2,800 a night, but do go down to about 400. So, depending on how ghetto you want to be
Yeah.
in Illinois, you can stay there. And I have to confess, I see this building a lot every time I'm in St. Pete's because you can see it from St. Pete Pier. And it has got this beautiful tower, and all I can imagine is one of my future daughter-in-laws, and maybe they'll let me talk them into doing it, like in the tower with like their veil kind of hanging outside down the window. It would be such a beautiful photo op. Like I can't
Yeah.
get that out of my head. That's it's really what I want to do about that. Um, but that's where we are. So we can stay at all of them. And I will look up resort passes and see if we can stay at any of them. But I do want to say, so Florida's haunted hotels, and again, this is an exhaustive list. It's not just about ghosts. There's a lot of memories there. You've got some love, and you've got some gangsters, and you've got some military history, and then, we've got haunting baseball people.
Yeah.
It's more about, the way a place absorbs emotion, tragedy, love, and violence and refuses to let go. So, just like Room 1219 in San Francisco, which we covered in Fatty Arbuckle's episode, these hotels
Mhm.
remind us that walls have memories and some stories just refuse to stay silent. So, Jen, any last thoughts or comments or questions from you?
I can't wait to go. I'm not going to stay in any of the rooms, but I can't wait to go to just see the Gilded Era opulence
I
that they
cannot
had
wait.
because the fact that they put a speakeasy on floor 13, just
Yes.
chef's kiss. Amazing decision on that one because
Hmm.
what can go wrong?
What could go wrong on floor 13 with a speakeasy? Come on. I mean, they
I
knew enough to
know.
put a secret staircase in there
Yeah.
and its own elevator. Keep people behind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to tour these things either. I was actually really, really happy to see that when I was doing the research on they're still open. You can still stay there. I can't afford to stay
Yeah.
there, but I'll find a way to get through there.
Yeah.
So until next week, everybody. I want to say this is the haunting truth, and thank you for joining us as we traveled the great Sunshine State, and we built our itinerary for the next set of girls' weekends. We can stay at all of
Super
those
excited.
places. So remember, Seeker's history is not just a place in the past, but it is a constant current that continually reaches out to us, kind of like waves on a beach. So thank you all for joining us tonight. Until next week. Bye.
Bye.